Hello everyone, welcome again to online session of Manolo classes. I am Dinesh Kumar and I am former assistant professor of law at Campus Law Center, Law Faculty, Delhi University, and presently I am working as an academic head of Manolo classes. So dear students, today I will discuss with you one of the landmark judgment of Honorable Supreme Court, that is in the case of Menka Gandhi versus Union of India. This judgment was delivered by Honorable Supreme Court on 25th January 1978. But before moving to the discussion part of the landmark judgment, there is an important announcement for all of you. Admissions are open at Manolo classes for upcoming batch of 2022 and 2023 for 1-year course and 2-year courses, and all of you may get yourself with us for getting the best result. For more information, you can dial the given number on screen, that is 9971444054, and you may also visit our website, that is www.lawentranceindia.com. Dear students, we at Manolo classes are also providing 15 days free trial to all the aspirants of law entrance examination, and you will get the following benefits in these 15 days free trial. Number 1, you will get live classes with one-to-one interaction. Number 2, you will get various recorded conceptual lectures on various topics. Number 3, you will get various topic tests, and number 4, you will get various sectional tests. At last, we will provide you the analysis of your performance, and this analysis will be done by our team of experts. For getting this benefit or availing this facility, you need to do the following activity. Number 1, you should first of all you should find the link in the description below. Then you should locate the sign up for 15 days free trial. Then you should fill the form available there, and then you will be eligible to get the benefit of this facility. So dear students, now I will move to the main discussion part of the landmark judgment, and in this landmark judgment I will discuss with you following constitutional and legal provisions. As far as the constitutional provisions are concerned, I will discuss with you Article 14 of the Constitution of India. As all of you are aware about Article 14, that it provides for equality before law and equal protection of laws. Secondly, Article 19 provides for various freedoms to the citizen of India. As far as Article 21 is concerned, Article 21 provides for right to life and personal liberty. Article 14 and Article 21 are available to every person, whether that person is citizen of India or not, but Article 19 is available only to the citizen of India. And I will also discuss with you Section 10 Clause 3 Subclause C of Passport Act 1967. This provision provides for various grounds for impounding the passport of a passport holder. Means under Section 10 Subclause 3, passport officer may impound the passport of the passport holder on the various grounds, which I will discuss in my subsequent slides. As far as Section 10 Clause 5 is concerned, it provides for the basic reason behind the impounding of the passport of any passport holder. Now we come to the fact of this case. Basically, what happened in this case, the petitioner, that is Menka Gandhi, she was issued a passport on 1st June 1976 as per the Passport Act 1967, and on 2nd July 1977 regional passport officer ordered her to surrender her passport. Means उसको पासपोर्ट इशू किया गया था 1 जून 1976 को, लेकिन 2 जुलाई 1977 को रीजनल पासपोर्ट ऑफिसर ने उसको ऑर्डर दिया दैट शी शुड सरेंडर हर पासपोर्ट अंडर द पासपोर्ट एक्ट. When petitioner asked for the reason that why should I surrender the passport to you, then the concerned authority did not provide any satisfactory answer. Rather, they provide that it was required so for the public interest. So as far as the term public interest is concerned, section 10 subsection 3 subclause C of Passport Act 1967 authorized the passport authority to impound the passport of any passport holder on the following grounds, and ground number 1 is sovereignty and integrity of India, second is the security of India, third, friendly relation of India with any foreign country, and fourth, in the interest of general public. Means if it appears to any passport authority that holding the passport by a passport holder may affect any of these four provisions, then passport authority may impound the passport of such passport holder. Basically, when the passport of a person is taken, it means that her rights are being violated, and as per the principle of natural justice, the other party should also be heard, as the principle of natural justice, that is audi alteram partem, provides that. So in this case, passport authority did not provide any opportunity to say something by the petitioner. So one of the more reason, or one of the another reason given by the passport authority to impound the passport was that her presence was required to be present before Shah Commission regarding an inquiry. So there were two reasons cited by the passport authority to impound the passport. First reason was that her presence was required to be present before the Shah Commission regarding any inquiry, and second was that the impounding of passport was necessary for the interest of general public, as I discussed with you in my previous slide under section 10 subsection 3. So when she found that no reasonable opportunity was given to her, and she thought that it was the violation of her right to life and personal liberty under Article 21 of the Constitution of India, so she approached before Honorable Supreme Court under Article 32 of the Constitution of India, and she contended that State's act of impounding her passport was direct assault on her right to personal liberty. How can we say that it was the violation of right to personal liberty? Basically, when as per Article 21 of Constitution of India, she has the right to personal liberty, and this personal liberty also include right to go abroad. So if her passport would be impounded, then she won't be able to go abroad. So in this way, her right to personal liberty was violated by the concerned authority, and this action of the concerned authority was considered by her to be against Article 21 of Constitution of India. Secondly, she also contended that it is the violation of her right to speech and expression given under Article 19(1) of Constitution of India, because she was not given any reasonable opportunity of being heard. क्योंकि उसको कोई भी reasonable opportunity नहीं दी गई, इसलिए it was also her right to speech and expression under Article 19(1)(a) of Constitution of India. Since the action of government or the concerned authority was arbitrary in nature, so it was also contended to be against Article 14 of Constitution of India. So basically, petitioner Maneka Gandhi ji in this case contended the action of the passport authority on these three grounds. Now, but here is an important thing which all of you must know, that before the decision of this case, means Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India case, there was a decision of Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Satwant Singh Sahani versus D. Ramanatham, Assistant Passport Officer. This decision was delivered by Honorable Supreme Court on 10th April 1967, and in this case, Honorable Supreme Court held that right to travel abroad is a fundamental right under Article 21 of Constitution of India. So इस केस में Honorable Supreme Court ने ये कहा था कि right to travel abroad is a fundamental right under Article 21 of Constitution of India. As all of you are aware of this fact that by virtue of Article 141 of Constitution of India, every decision of Supreme Court becomes the laws of the land. So after the decision of Satwant Singh Sahni case, right to travel abroad became a fundamental right or a part of fundamental right under Article 21 of Constitution of India. But after the decision of this case, Parliament enacted Passport Act 1967. But this Passport Act put certain limitation on this right to go abroad as per the decision of Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Satwant Singh Sahni versus D. Ramaratham, Assistant Passport Officer. So there were following issues before Honorable Supreme Court in this case, and the issue number 1 was that whether the provisions of Article 21, 14 and 19 are complementary to each other or they are mutually exclusive. Complementary here means that when court has to interpret any provision of the Constitution, especially the fundamental right, then whether court need to consider all these 3 rights given under the part 3rd of the Constitution of India or not, or whether these are mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive here means all these provisions are separate and there is no relationship amongst all these provisions of the Constitution of India. Second point was that, or second issue was that, whether the procedure established by law can be tested for the reasonability, which in this case was procedure laid down by the Passport Act 1967. Means, as the term procedure established by law, which has been provided under Article 21, is absolute in nature, or whether it can be checked on the test of reasonability. Means procedure established by law must be reasonable or not. So in this case we are talking about the procedure provided by the Passport Act 1967. So in this case the procedure of the Passport Authority to impound the passport of the petitioner was justified or not. And third point was whether the right to travel outside the country is a part of fundamental right under Article 21 of Constitution of India or not. So when Honorable Court found these 3 issues before itself, then both the parties raised their contention, and first of all I am discussing with you the contention of appellant. So appellant in this case raised the following contention, and the first contention of the appellant was that the right to go abroad is a part of fundamental right, or is a part of personal liberty within the meaning of Article 21 of Constitution of India. Article 21 of Constitution of India provides that no person shall be deprived of his right to life and personal liberty except in accordance to procedure established by law. Means if government wants to deprive a person from the right to personal liberty, then there must be procedure established by law. So in this case there is no procedure established by law, or there is no procedure in the case of Passport Act. Even if some procedure can be traced to the Passport Act, but this procedure was not just, fair and reasonable, rather this procedure was arbitrary in nature. So it was the contention on the part of appellant that the procedure to impound the passport under Passport Act is not just, fair and reasonable, rather it is arbitrary in nature. Why she contended that it is arbitrary in nature? Because she was not given any reasonable opportunity of being heard, क्योंकि उसको कोई भी reasonable opportunity नहीं दी गई और उसकी बात को नहीं सुना गया, इसलिए उसने कहा कि this procedure is arbitrary in nature, and if it is arbitrary in nature then it is liable to be rejected under Article 14, 19 and 21 of Constitution of India. Second contention was that the procedure established by law under Article 21 cannot be arbitrary procedure. Rather, it must be just, fair and reasonable. तो प्रोसीजर जो वर्ड मेंशन है आर्टिकल 21 में, it does not mean any arbitrary procedure, rather it must be just, fair and reasonable. And such procedure must be in consonance of Article 14, 19 and 21 of Constitution of India. Means the procedure provided under Article 21 must be in accordance to Article 14 and Article 19 as well. And it also need to fulfill the requirement of Article 14 and 19 as well. And there is a relationship between all these three provisions of the Constitution. As far as the third contention on the part of petitioner is concerned, she contended that Section 10, Subclause 3 is violative of a fundamental right given under Article 14, 19 Clause 1A and G and 21 of the Constitution of India because they are arbitrary in nature. Why she contended that it is against Article 14? Because there was a case of Honorable Supreme Court, namely E.P. Yorappa versus State of Tamil Nadu, and in this case Honorable Supreme Court gave a new concept of equality. And according to this decision, Honorable Supreme Court held that if any procedure or if any action of the government is arbitrary in nature, then such would be against Article 14. So, if there is no guideline regarding the impounding of the passport holder, or there is no reasonable opportunity of saying something to the passport holder, then it is also against Article 14 of the Constitution of India. As far as the Article 19, 1A and Z are concerned, she contended that when she was not given any opportunity to say something before the concerned passport authority, it was the violation of her right to speech and expression under Article 19, 1A. Secondly, she was a journalist by profession, and if she wanted to go abroad in connection with her profession and she was not allowed to go, then it would also amount to the violation of her right to do any practice, any profession, any trade or business under Article 19(1)(g) of the Constitution of India. Thirdly, since Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Satwant Singh Sahani versus D. Ramanathan case held that right to travel abroad is a part of fundamental right, and she was denied this right, so it was also considered by her as the violation of her right to personal liberty under Article 21 of Constitution of India. As far as the fourth contention of the petitioner is concerned, in order that a passport may be impounded under Section 10, Subclause 3, public interest must actually exist. So basically, it was the contended on the part of the concerned officer that her passport was being impounded on the ground of public interest. But she contended that public interest must actually exist at the time when her passport was being impounded by the concerned authority. And merely likelihood of public interest arising in future will not be a justified ground to impound the passport of the petitioner. So as per the contention of petitioner, no public interest exists at the time when her passport was impounded by the concerned authority. Now we come to the fifth contention. The ground mentioned by the government that presence of the petitioner is required before the Shah Commission is not justified ground to impound the passport of the petitioner. So she also contended that as per the passport officer, her presence was required in an inquiry before the Shah Commission, but she did not consider this ground to be a justified ground, and she said that her rights have been violated. Now we come to the contention of the respondent. Respondent also gave various contention in its favor, and the contention number 1 was that the respondent stated before the court that passport was confiscated since petitioner had to appear before the Shah Commission for a hearing. So it was a reasonable ground to impound the passport. So now the concerned passport officer is trying to justify his action by saying that presence of the petitioner before the Shah Commission was a necessary act. So for the purpose of this act, her passport was impounded by the concerned officer. Second contention of the respondent was that the word law under Article 21 does not include the principle of natural justice. Basically, it was the contention on the part of petitioner that the word law under Article 21 include the principle of natural justice as well, but it was contended by the respondent that the word law under Article 21 of Constitution of India does not include the principle of natural justice. तो यहाँ पर principle of natural justice इसमें शामिल नहीं है. So this contention of the respondent was based upon the decision of A.K. Gopalan versus State of Madras, because it was so held by the Honorable Supreme Court in the case of A.K. Gopalan versus State of Madras. Now we come to the third contention. Article 21 contains the phrase procedure established by law, and such procedure does not have to pass the test of reasonability, and it need not necessarily be in the consonance of with Article 14 and 19. So it was the contention on the part of respondent that procedure established by law does not require the consonance as provided under Article 14 and 19 of the Constitution of India. Means basically respondent wanted to say here that there is no relationship between or amongst Article 14, 19 and 21 of Constitution of India. Rather, all these are 3 articles and provide for the different fundamental rights. So there is no relationship amongst them. So the procedure given under Article 21 does not require any reasonability test under Article 14 and 19 of the Constitution of India. As far as the fourth contention of the respondent is concerned, it contended that the expression due process of law is of American origin and the expression procedure established by law is of British origin. So there was debate in our country regarding that which expression we must choose for our Constitution of India. And as per the contention of the respondent, our forefathers or constitutional maker intentionally choose the expression procedure established by law, which is found under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. So there is no relationship between the due process of law and the procedure established by law. Basically, the term due process of law is wide in comparison to procedure established by law. Term due process of law gives more power to the court to take the judicial review of any law enacted by the parliament if such law is not just, fair and reasonable. But procedure established by law merely talk about the administrative action and it does not include the legislative actions. So procedure established by law gives less power to the court, and the due process of law give more power to the court. So it was contended by the respondent that there is no relationship between the due process of law and the procedure established by law, and our constitutional maker intentionally choose the expression procedure established by law, which is found under Article 21 of Constitution of India. After analyzing the contention of both the parties, Honorable Court came to the following conclusion and delivered the following judgment. Honorable Court held that basically this judgment is very landmark judgment in the Constitution of India, and this judgment gave very wide interpretation to Article 21 of Constitution of India. So the judgment changed the constitution's landscape by contending that though the language used in Article 21 is procedure established by law, but such procedure must not be arbitrary and irrational. Rather, it must be just, fair and reasonable. तो ऑनरेबल कोर्ट ने कहा कि जो टर्म प्रोसीजर एस्टेब्लिश्ड बाय लॉ है विच इज मेंशन्ड अंडर आर्टिकल 21, it must not be a arbitrary procedure, rather it must be just, fair and reasonable procedure. And if it is not just, fair and reasonable, then it cannot be considered to be a procedure established by law. Second point of the judgment was that the court overruled the decision of Gopalan case by saying that there exists a special relationship. So my dear students, as I told you, in the Gopalan case, or we can say that A.K. Gopalan versus State of Madras, there was also a question between the relationship of Article 14, 19 and 21, but in the case of Gopalan, Honorable Supreme Court denied to accept the relationship amongst these three articles. Honorable Supreme Court ने कहा कि इन तीनों के बीच में कोई रिलेशनशिप नहीं है, इसलिए लेकिन ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने मेनका गांधी वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया के केस में A.K. गोपालन वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ मद्रास के केस को ओवर रूल कर दिया और ऑनरेबल कोर्ट ने ये माना कि नहीं, देयर इज अ रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन आर्टिकल 14, 19 एंड 21 ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया एंड all three articles are considered to be the part of golden triangle. इन तीनों आर्टिकल को हम गोल्डन ट्राइंगल का पार्ट मानते हैं एंड ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया और एवरी प्रोसीजर प्रोवाइडेड इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया और इन एनी लॉ must require to fulfill the requirement of these three articles. That's why these are called as the part of golden triangle. Now we come to the next part of the judgment. Honorable court further held that the interpretation of the word personal liberty should not be construed as narrow. तो ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि जो वर्ड पर्सनल लिबर्टी है विच इज मेंशन्ड अंडर आर्टिकल 21, it should not be given a narrow interpretation, rather it must be given liberal interpretation and wider interpretations. The right to travel abroad, as in the case of Satwant Singh Sahani, was recognized, is guaranteed under Article 21. तो ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा the expression personal liberty as provided in the Article 21 must not be given a narrow approach, rather it should be given a broad approach and it should be widely interpreted. And Honorable Supreme Court recognized right to travel abroad as it was also recognized by the case of Satwant Singh Sahani case. And this right is guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. And under Articles 10 Clause 5 of the Passport Act 1967, it is an administrative order that can be challenged on the ground of unreasonable. Means Honorable Supreme Court held that right to travel abroad is a part of fundamental right, and if any administrative order or if any order of any administrative officer try to take away this right, then such order or such action of such administrative officer can be challenged in the court of law. Now we come to the next part. Honorable Supreme Court further held that Article 19, 14 and 21 are inseparable and a part of single entity. Honorable Supreme Court ने कहा कि आर्टिकल 14, 19 एंड 21 जो हैं वो इनसेपरेबल हैं, मीन्स उनको सेपरेट नहीं किया जा सकता, एंड दीज आर द पार्ट ऑफ सिंगल एंटिटी, मीन्स एक एंटिटी के ये पार्ट हैं. नाउ all the procedure has to meet the requirement of all the provisions mentioned under these three articles. Means if the procedure given under Article 21 is not in accordance to Article 14 and 19, it will not be considered to be a procedure established by law. Now we come to the next part of the judgment. Honorable Supreme Court held that if executive actions are arbitrary in nature, then such action can be challenged before the court of law. And if any act enacted by the parliament is not just fair and reasonable, it can also be challenged before the court of law. So basically there is a difference between, basically Honorable Supreme Court in this case tried to create the difference in the approach of the A.K. Gopalan case and in the Maneka Gandhi case, and the consequences was that in the before the decision of Maneka Gandhi case, only administrative action or executive action can be challenged before the honorable court. Means suppose any officer or executive officer has taken any decision and he did not follow the procedure of the law as provided in the Article 21 of the Constitution of India, then such action could be challenged before the court of law. But after the decision of Honorable Supreme Court, the action of legislature can also be challenged before the court of law, and if any act or any law enacted by parliament is not just fair and reasonable, then such law or such procedure cannot be considered to be a procedure established by law within the meaning of Article 21 of Constitution of India. So my dear students, this is one of the landmark judgment of Honorable Supreme Court regarding the procedure established by law, and after the decision of this case, Honorable Supreme Court has given widest possible interpretation to Article 21 of Constitution of India. So dear students, that's all for today. I will come again with the next landmark judgment of Honorable Supreme Court with related to any important topics. Till then, you may ask any of your doubt in the comment box. We will reply. And till then, please take care yourself and follow the guidelines of the government regarding the COVID prevention. Thank you very much. Goodbye.